What's something small you notice that shows someone has been through a lot? Their inability to ask for help and tackling everything on their own. They're used to no one else being there and still needing to get shit done. People who are really kind with others but not with themselves. Apologize for things constantly, particularly if they didn't do anything wrong. The way they carry themselves, like a certain weariness in their eyes or a tendency to keep their distance in conversations, it's subtle, but there's usually a depth of experience or an emotional weight that can be sensed in their demeanor or in the way they speak. Nothing surprises them anymore. I work with parents/children who have endured, and some regularly still enduring, trauma. One thing I notice is in times of serious immediate stress, like an active shooter nearby as a real example, they go into a totally calm, rational state. Their brains seem to be trained to be more comfortable in chaos. They also seem to create chaos, often drama, when things start going too smoothly. A lot of people see this as self-sabotage, but if you're used to living in chaos, calm can feel really unfamiliar and frankly scary. Something scary or maddening happens and they just look bored or resigned. No biggie, seen worse. There are a lot of negative responses here, which is completely understandable, but I do want to add a positive sign of someone who's seen some things. They can be incredibly empathetic and patient, willing to listen with an open mind and emit a warmth from them that seems to say, I feel your pain, and my heart is with you. Coming out of a painful part of life can really help a person understand why other people are the way they are, because they know what pain does to them. A lack of trust in most people, often dismissed as just maybe a cynic but probably stems from a lifetime of betrayal maybe as early as childhood. They automatically assume that the worst possible outcome will happen, because it always has in the past. One small thing I notice is how people handle their personal space. It might sound odd, but someone who's been through a lot often has a certain way of arranging their things or how they react to being around others. For instance, a slightly guarded or meticulous approach to organizing personal items or a tendency to stay quietly in the background can be subtle hints. It's like these small details are part of their coping mechanism or a reflection of their experiences. It's a gentle reminder that we all carry our stories with us in ways that aren't always immediately obvious. They show intense gratitude for simple acts of kindness like handing them a glass of water. The ability to read the room. People with traumatic memories often had to be alert to small warning signs indicative of impending danger. That survival skill can become finely honed and just a part of who they are. Very self-reliant, they've had to take care of themselves since a young age. They are very quiet and usually on their own, like they live in their own little world. The way some people hesitate and take a deep breath before speaking. If you twist the door handle before closing it to avoid the latch making a sound, if you're like me and 6 feet 3 inches walking around like a ninja, do you cut the tops of the chip bags off so they don't make a crinkle noise when you reach in? Your parents were likely narcissists and you did your best to go unnoticed, and those habits continue in life. They are less surprised and shocked at the absurdity of life. They are suspicious and slow to trust someone in a low-stakes situation. Bad at day-to-day life, but extremely good in an emergency situation. Being passed over constantly for recognition. Hear me out, some of the best people I've ever met, who I know have been through some shit, are never acknowledged for how hard they work because they are so hard-working. It just becomes a normal part of them. The saddest part is they are left thinking they are still not enough. They'll ask you what's wrong without you ever having opened your mouth. Hurt souls recognize other hurt souls. I was bartending one night and I served this older couple with a smile. They were really nice and I didn't think I was acting any different, even though I was going through a lot at the time. The old lady looked at me after I had cashed them out and said, "You have a really sad look in your eyes, it's gonna get better." She could tell I was going through something just by looking in my eyes, like some sort of magic. They are able to read people. They run through countless scenarios and predict people's reactions and behaviors. Ultimately, they don't get mad or disappointed by others because they saw it coming. Occasionally, if something really hurts, they may feel a little tired or even relieved. For the most part, they've shut down emotionally, but every once in a great while, they think, maybe this person will prove me wrong. Which way they look while talking, either they look down and don't make eye contact or the eyes are never still, flitting around, looking for bad things to happen. Source: looking for bad things to happen, new people in group who couldn't make eye contact. Edit: not a Freudian mistake. How they notice everything around them because they grew up being exposed to dangerous situations. They often offer advice or support easily, drawing from their own experiences. Are surprised when you don't yell at them. Physical scars. I'm a good example because I was a heroin addict for 30 years, it's been 14 years since I used, but I carry the physical scars of addiction. I notice other people's scars. It doesn't have to just be track marks. I've noticed scars from abuse, trauma, etc. There's a lot of good answers here, but a lot depends on where they are in the healing process of said trauma. People who read the most minute changes in body language have often developed that as a survival skill. If they say it's time to get away from someone, don't ask questions, just go.